everybody. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get that going. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome into the High Noon stream. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. What is the High Noon stream? Good question. Thanks for stopping by. High Noon stream is designed to provide you with all of the little stupid stuff that's going on. And actually, that's not true. That's not true. Not the stupid stuff. We do current events. We do hot topics. We do trends. We do headlines. If it's something that is caused the world to be buzzing about today, we're going to talk about it here. It's utilitarian. It's something that you can lean on. You listen every day. I give you, in the course of about 90 minutes to 2 hours, I give you everything that you need to know. And when I say need to know, I mean need to know. The stuff you don't need to know is what we don't do here. We don't do divisive politics. We don't do culture wars. We don't do this and that. We don't do things that, you can get that anywhere else. This is an attempt to do talk radio in a way that it hasn't been done in about 20 years now. That's right. I come from the world of talk radio. I used to have fun doing talk radio. Talk radio used to be something where you get the community together, you talk, you have fun. Nobody goes home mad. Everybody's happy. It's not how it's been. Talk radio in America for the past 20 years, easily, certainly the last 10 years, but the last 20 years is when, first started to see it happening. You got to either talk divisive politics or sports. And that's it. There are no other topics that anybody is allowed to discuss on the radio. Okay, so that's why we do this stream. The High Noon stream, me, Pugs Moran, every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. We do a second stream around these parts. We call it Pugs and Parker. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. That comes on at 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Except sometimes there's interruptions. That's, sometimes that show gets interrupted because we have lives. We have things that we have to do. All right, so we've run down the checklist. We've got High Noon every Monday through Friday at noon, and then we've got Pillow Talk at 9 p.m. All right. One other thing, we do. This show runs on donations. At least for this month, it does. We're being constricted. It's a down month for the income for the other projects. So if you want to help keep this show going, we sure would appreciate it. Tips are welcomed. You can drop it in the Venmo or the Cash App, whatever it is. If you like the show, if you listen to it every day and you want to throw me a little something like I'm your bartender and we just had a nice talk, that would be greatly appreciated. Again, you can see it right there on the screen at your leisure. You don't have to do it now. At your leisure, but it would be nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's get into the show. It is High Noon, the 11th day of January, year of our Lord 2023. January 11th is class, everybody, the 11th day of the new year. That's right, 11 days in. We're 11 days in. All right, we're 11 days in. Let's take a deep breath. Take a look around. How's it been so far? How's 2023 been? It's been okay. It's been okay. It's steady as she goes, I guess, as good as we can. There are 354 days remaining till the end of this year. So as we say around these parts, get those New Year's Eve plans started. Here's how the show works. We start out by going through the history of the day. We talk about the day. It's the 11th day of January. We talk about all the things that happened on this day, on the 11th day of January throughout history. Then we move into birthdays. We talk about some of the people who were born unto the world on this day, and we celebrate their contributions or whatever. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're pieces of garbage. And we talk about that as well. And then we go into the deaths. We mourn some of the passings of people who left us on this day. So then after we get the history, after we get the birthdays, and after we get the deaths, then, at least to me, I feel like, okay, this day has a vibe. We have gone through the history of this day. We know what the vibe of the day is. So now let's talk about all the things that are happening right now. And that's how we do it. And we do that every day. So glad to have you along for the ride. On this day, in 1861, the American Civil War, Alabama secedes from the United States. All right, write that down, Alabama. Like, I got to write down the list of the Confederate States, right? Like, well, don't let as I say to all, we do this. Apparently, this is the time of year back then in 1861, when a whole bunch of states were going, yeah, we're going to be traitors. And they all voted to be traitors. And because seems like we've been nominating or at least commemorating these states. We did Mississippi the other day. And I said, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. Well, I'm going to say the same thing to Alabama. On this day in 1861, Alabama said, we hate America, and they left. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. Can't believe we let you back in. Honestly, you should be Alabama, should be Puerto Rico right now. You should be just like Puerto Rico. You should be a territory. We're trying to figure out if we're going to let you back in or not. On this day in 1908, the Grand Canyon National Monument is created. I love how that's worded. On this day in that's right, there was no Grand Canyon before 1908. There was just a bunch of bad farmland that nothing would grow, and you can really build anything there. They didn't know what to do with it. But on this day in 1908, the Grand Canyon National Monument is created. It becomes a park. It becomes the most beautiful thing in America. Is it? I don't know. I've been to the Grand Canyon. It's cool, right? I mean, it's cool. It's like, whoa, big hole in the ground. Not a 7-Eleven in sight. I mean, just vast miles of nothing. On this day in beauty, it's beautiful. It's vast miles of beauty. Yeah, that's true. On this day in 1927, Louis B. Mayer, one of the kings of Hollywood. Louis B. Mayer, head of the film studio Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, announces the creation of the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences. They're not scientists. They're drama people. Louis B. Mayer, head of the studio Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, announces the creation of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences at a banquet in Los Angeles on this day in 1927. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a fancy way of saying the Oscars. The Oscars were created on this day. On this day in 1935, Amelia Earhart becomes the first person to fly solo from Hawaii to California. Good for you, Amelia. What are you going to try next? Yeah, that was not good. That was because, didn't end up well for Amelia. On this day in 1964, the Surgeon General of the United States of America, Dr. Luther Terry, MD, I'll have you know, he published the landmark report, Smoking and Health, Report of the Advisory Committee to the Surgeon General of the United States. It said that smoking may be hazardous to your health, sparking national and worldwide anti-smoking efforts. That's the wording was very, and by the way, don't you think for 1 minute that they didn't, it's months in a meeting room bickering over the exact wording of what that was going to be. For instance, it says, here's the one that they went back and forth on. Smoking may be hazardous to your health. That's as far as they were willing to go. It may be. We're not saying it is because, the tobacco industry funds a lot of political campaigns. We're not saying it is, but whatever. It may be. It is. It's harmful, and nobody smokes. James Parker, nobody smokes anymore. It's so rare. James Parker and I on Pillow Talk just the other night, I was talking about I was at the 7-Eleven and I saw like a 16-year-old kid standing in front of the 7-Eleven smoking a cigarette. I was just like, you got a time machine? What are you from 1986? I mean, what are you doing? It's 2023. 17-year-olds don't smoke cigarettes. What are you doing smoking cigarettes? Anyway, it was weird. He looked cool though. Remember that, kids? Smoking is cool. On this day in 1973, Major League Baseball owners vote the approval for the American League to adopt the designated hitter position. Ladies and gentlemen, the DH. And now you all got it. You baseball dorks. You baseball murderers. I hate you baseball murderers. That's what I call you. You're baseball. Oh, I know you fancy yourself as traditionalists. You're baseball murderers because the form of baseball that was played in 1930 sucks. It sucks. Nobody wants to see that. It's boring. It's slow. It wasn't even thought or considered as a television. Now it's a television product. We need chicks dig the big bombs. You need the big bombs. And on this day in 1973, the American League went, you know what? We're just gonna stop with this nonsense of making pitchers come to the plate, killing rallies and ending momentum and just making the game slower than it already is. They said, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to put a big fat guy who can't play the outfield but can swing a stick hard. We're going to put him up the bat instead of the pitcher, and then we're just going to see where this whole thing goes. And guess where it went? It went to, Now everybody's got the designated hitter. Stop it, you baseball murderers. I'm a traditionalist. I liked it when it was a... I don't get me started on baseball talk. You baseball murderers. That's what you are. Oh, I know you fancy yourself traditionalists. You're murderers. You're murdering the sport for future generations with your obstinance and your unwillingness to change and adapt and make the sport more appealing to new fans. You won't do it. You won't do it because you want fat guys smoking cigarettes in the dugout. That's what you like. Baseball. That was a thing in the 70s, 70, probably even way before that for probably a good 100 years. Dudes just smoking butts in the dugout, just athletes. Well, I guess that was before the Surgeon General said smoking may be hazardous to your health. On this day in 2020, COVID-19 pandemic in Hubei, municipal health officials in Wuhan announced the first recorded death from COVID-19. Who is that guy? That guy, that woman, that dude, whoever that person is. They're the Neil Armstrong of COVID. They were the first ones to go the other side due to COVID. We still think it's fake. Is that some of you people still think it was fake? I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the idiots are on that. I mean, look, now that we've got a little bit of distance here, we can haggle all we want about how, it was sold to the greater world population. We can argue about, how scary it was and how terrible. Look, people who had people die, it was pretty terrible. I myself know 2 people who died from it. One from complications. They were already sick. But can we at least all agree that it was a thing? Because early on it was like, this ain't even a thing. This is a front. Can we just agree that it is a thing? Because I went to a funeral and, if it's all just a big fake out, that funeral was, wow. They really went the extra mile to make sure that we all thought COVID was real, because I saw a body go into the ground. I was there. All right, let's get into some birthdays. Let's celebrate some birthdays. Some people who are celebrating, actually, I guess this first guy ain't celebrating. Born on this day in 1755, Alexander Hamilton. Navizian American general. Navizian, I don't know, what is Navizian? I thought he was from like Bermuda or something like that. What is Navizian? Do I need to Google search Navizian? I don't know what that is. Was that a country back then that doesn't exist anymore? I don't know. Alexander Hamilton was a Navizian American general, an economist, and a politician. He was the first United States Secretary of the Treasury, don't you know? He died in 1804. Alexander Hamilton, boy, you got to hang with it. You got to, because for the first 100 years or so after his death, well, when did he die? 1804, 1904. For the first 200 plus years after his passing, Alexander Hamilton was a founding father, but he was a spare. He was a spare founding father. He wasn't a president. He got into some crazy thing with Burr, and we learned about that in school. But we weren't really, it wasn't like, put him, it was Alexander Hamilton. He was a spare founding father until, the mid-2000s when they started writing rap music about him, and it became a huge thing. And now if you were to ask a 10-year-old, name a founding father, they might go with Alexander Hamilton first, which is okay, whatever. I still like going with Washington first, maybe Jefferson, maybe an Adams, something like that. But whatever, Alexander Hamilton, he's having a tremendous a tremendous revival, I guess you would say, of Alexander Hamilton 200 years after his death. Born on this day in 1942. He died in 2011. This is a sad one. The big man, Clarence Clemens of the East Street Band, my favorite saxophone player of all time. The big man, Clarence Clemens, was born on this day back in 1942. Born on this day in 1946, umbilical cousin. No, they're not the same day. You got to be born the same day to be umbilical cousins. Born on this day in 1946, Naomi Judd, American singer, songwriter, actress. She killed herself last year. She She killed herself. We got a rash, man. We got like a whole thing going on with lately, like with high profile suicides. Naomi Judd. Then you got, what was the deal with the kid, Aaron Carter? Was it Aaron Carter or was the other one? I don't remember. He died. Was that a suicide? Did that end up? That was kind of sketchy. I don't remember how that. Then who else? We got Twitch. You got that guy Twitch. He from the Ellen show. He killed himself. Who else? Who am I missing? Adam Rich. Nicholas. We just talked about him yesterday. Adam Rich, Nicholas from 8 is Enough. Killed himself over the weekend. Oh, man, let me tell you something. Depression. It is sometimes people with depression, and I'm someone who has depression. It's hard. I mean, I look at these stories and I go, oh, well, they obviously got to a point where I've never been to, or that I've never really come that close to. I mean, although it's hard to explain. Naomi Judd. Remember that? That was just last year. That was a big deal. She just, it was like the night before she was going to be honored at some like country music hall of fame kind of a thing. Naomi Judd, born on this day in 1946. Born on this day in 1958, Vicki Peterson, American singer, songwriter, and guitarist. She's the cute blonde from the Bangles. She's the lead guitar player for the Bangles. Born on this day in 1971, Mary J. Blige, American singer, songwriter, producer, and actress. Born on this day in 1971. All right, as we move into the deaths, let me pour a little coffee down my gullet. What is a gullet? Is a gullet? Like, I know people say like, oh, shove some pie in your gullet. But I know it's like your mouth hole. But is that like a goose thing? It sounds like that would be like a goose would have a gullet, right? Like is that like a, I don't know what it is. Anyway, let's get into some deaths. We're not going to chase no gullet rabbit down a hole. We're not going to go chasing that. We're not going to get distracted. We're going to stay. Deaths, people who died today. In 1988, Pappy Boyington, American colonel and pilot, Medal of Honor recipient. We talked about Pappy Boyington last week. It was his birthday last week. Well, today he died. Pappy Boyington, Black Sheep Squadron. Remember that show on NBC? Pappy Boyington. Dead on this day in 2008. This one shocked me. Not because he's dead. I mean, I thought he was dead, but this dude died in 2008. And if you had asked me yesterday, when did this guy die? I'd have been like, I don't know, 1885. I got this guy so wrong as far as what era he lived in. Sir Edmund Hillary died on this day in 2008. New Zealand mountaineer, explorer. Didn't he discover the South Pole? Wasn't that his thing? He's like the Neil Armstrong of the South Pole. I thought that dude was around in like the 1840s. Like, I thought that guy was doing that stuff. No, that guy was around in relative modern times. Edmund Hillary died on this day in 2008. That's kind of a shock. All right, that's it. That's it for all of the history of the day, the birthdays of the day. We've talked about some people who have passed on this day. And now let's get into what is going to dictate how we remember this day in future years. What are the events of today that are happening right now? I need another cup of coffee. Pour a little more coffee down my gullet, which I'm just going to go. It's a goose thing, I think. I don't know. For some reason, I think goose gullet. Okay, now I'm about to sneeze. So hold on. Here it comes. No, it passed. How weird is that? You know, I had the nose tingle where your nose starts to tingle and you're like, oh, I'm about to sneeze, and it just passed. All right, let's get into what's trending today. The big story that's happening on this day, the 11th day of January, year of our Lord, 2023. FAA. Oh, my goodness. Air travel in this country over the past couple of weeks have just taken it, hasn't it? Air travel is just a big I'm glad I haven't traveled. I have not had to be on an airplane. And when was the last time I was on an airplane? Dude, we're going back to before the pandemic. I have not been on an airplane since before the pandemic. I was traveling quite a bit back then, or at least periodically. I was going on these trips with a branding agency that I was working for in Chicago. And then, we were covering conventions and stuff like that. That's what we did. We went to, if your organization was having a big convention in Austin, we would be down there. If your convention was having a big thing in San Francisco, we'd be there. So I used to fly a lot. And then all the conventions got canceled for COVID. So we stopped doing that. And I haven't been on an airplane. God. And probably for the best, too, because it looks like airplane travel has just been completely jacked up for the last month, at least. Yeah, the Southwest stuff over the holidays, that was bad. But this morning, according to the FAA advisories, the NOTAM system, that's the system that allows air traffic controllers to talk to the pilots and communicate with them and give them all the information that they need to get the plane up and down safely. According to FAA advisories, the NOTAM system failed at 8:28 p.m. Eastern Time last night, Tuesday, preventing new or amended notices from being distributed to pilots. The FAA resorted to a telephone hotline to keep departures flying overnight, but as daytime traffic picked up, it overwhelmed the telephone backup system, causing thousands of halts and cancellations. That's right, air travel in America right now, they say they got it back up and running. They say they're okay. They say they got it, but whatever. There's still a whole bunch of delays. New York, the world's largest aircraft fleet, was grounded for hours by a cascading outage in a government system that delayed or canceled thousands of flights across the U.S. on Wednesday. The White House initially said that there was no evidence of a cyber attack behind the outage that ruined travel plans for millions of passengers. President Biden said Wednesday morning that he's directed the Department of Transportation to investigate. Oh, we're getting Pete on it. Oh, Pete, Secretary Pete's going to get on it. Whatever the cause, the outage revealed how dependent the world's largest economy is on air travel and how dependent air travel is on an antiquated. All right, I've been exposed. My entire life, I can't say this word. I can't, any variation of antique. For some reason, I can't say it. Antiquity, I can't say, All right, so let me try and pronounce this word in real time. Whatever the cause, the outage revealed how dependent the world's largest economy is on air travel and how dependent air travel is on an antiquated. I don't know this word. This is a version of antiquated. I'm just going to say it because I know I've heard that word. I know antiquated, but I don't think that's how it's spelled. Actually, now that I'm pronouncing it that way, that probably is how it's spelled. Anyway, we're dependent on an See, I try to put the accent on the It's antiquated. Antiquated. All right, so we got an antiquated computer system that's running the planes. Why? Because it was state of the art in 1992, and then they just moved on for 40 years. They were like, hey, we got state of the art. We don't got to worry about this for 4 generations. And now it's, they're saying it might be a hack. It might be a hack. And the reason that they're saying it might be a hack is because there seems to be other large targets of hacker targets that have been having problems today. Case in point, you think the FAA is dealing with some stuff. UK mail. The UK mail, overseas delivery, export, import of UK mail has been stopped. It's been halted because they got hacked as well. The American FAA system was possibly hacked, although we're not saying, because we don't want to cause people to freak out. Nobody's going to freak out. Nobody's going to freak out, right? We assume all of this. Have you not seen TV? The stuff they do on TV shows with computers and stuff, they got us, the hoi polloi, the regular folks, the great unwashed. They got us thinking anything is possible. So you're not going to freak us out by saying it got hacked. We kind of figured that shit happens. Be better at your end. Be better at your end to make sure it doesn't get hacked. We can't do anything about it. Royal Mail has told customers sending parcels abroad that it is facing severe service disruption due to a cyber incident. The Brits are saying, nah, this is a cyber incident. The Americans are going, well, we don't know. We're going to put Secretary Pete on it. But the Brits are like, yeah, no, this was an attack. This was an attack. I don't know. Maybe they're two completely different situations. So it just seems very coincidental. A statement said it was temporarily unable to dispatch export items, including letters and parcels, to overseas destinations. Royal Mail said, We have asked customers temporarily to stop submitting any export item into the network while we work hard to resolve the issue. Some customers may experience delay or disruption to items that have already been shipped for export. All right, so 2 potential big cyber attacks this morning on 2 very large government entities. You've got the FAA in America, which, just it's a mess right now. All flights are delayed. They're trying to get caught back up. They seem to be back up and running, but still, there's just a mess. And then you got the British Mail, the export, the international. I don't even know how this works, but whatever. There you have it. Also trending today, people are buzzing about this guy. Oh, this guy. George Santos. Remember George Santos? George Santos is the guy. He won. He's a congressman in the United States Congress. He just won. He won in New York. And it turns out that he lied about everything. like he basically, and this is, I'm just going to freeball it. This is not what he said, but this is basically what he said. So he gets up on the stump when he's running. And he just goes, he's like, hey, I'm George Santos. I'm gay. I'm Jewish, because there's a big Jewish population where he's running. I'm gay. I'm Jewish. I'm Latino. I used to work on Wall Street. He lied about everything. He lied about where he worked. He said that he graduated first in his class from NYU and some other college. First in his class while he's campaigning. I was first in my class at NYU and another college. You know what he says now? You know what he's saying now? I mean, there's video of him on the stump talking about, his college days and how he excelled. Now he said, I didn't go to college. Now he freely admits, I didn't go to college. There were some misinterpretations of things that I said. Anyway, so he turns out to be a big fraud. Is he a fraud? Or, he's a young guy. It's a stunt. He wanted to see if he could get elected, and in this country, if you can just appeal to people who you're smarter than, that you can manipulate. If you're a manipulator, and there are a lot of us out here who are manipulators. I consider myself a manipulator. I'm pretty good at it. And I know I'm pretty good at it because I see my son, my 13-year-old son, is unbelievably good at manipulation. But if you have this skill set and it's something that you use, sometimes it pays off for you. Sometimes it paid off for him. He's in Congress. Do you think he really, does he want to be in Congress for the next 60 years? Does he want to be, I'm trying to think of some old dude in Congress. Does he want to be Steny Hoyer? I don't know. But if it was just a bit, good for you, man. Good for you. If you were just sitting around getting high with your friends and you said, I'm going to put a tie on and I'm going to lie about everything. I know I'm kind of a big loser, but I'm going to lie about everything and I'm going to check every box for every interesting reason that people will vote for me. I'm going to lie about it all, but they're going to believe me and they're going to vote for me and I'm going to be in Congress. All right, so that's the backstory on George Santos. He lied about everything. He's not a bad guy. We don't know. Maybe he's a bad guy, but he just lied. He lied to get votes. And it worked. And he won. And he's now in Congress. And guess what? Now they're trying to kick him out. And guess what I say? I say, no. You don't kick him out. He is a Republican, so we have to ask, was it a fair election? Was it fair? Did he win fairly? Because I think he did. I think he won fairly. He won fairly. People cast votes for him. People are stupid. That's the problem. Not on him. The problem's on us. We, the people. The people voted for him. The people went, bah. He says he went to NYU and is first in his class, and he looks Mexican, and he says that he's Jewish. He also says he's gay, but he doesn't really seem to have any sense of style or any sort of interesting charisma about him. I don't know if that, and you voted for him anyway. You said all that stuff, and you went, I'm going to vote for him, and you voted for him. So now, other Republicans, and this is what it takes. It's going to take other Republicans because the Republicans control the House. But other Republicans are now saying, you have got to go. Which I'm like, shut up. Leave him alone. Shut up. He won. He rigged the system. He figured out a way to get stupid people to vote for him by lying to them, because stupid people are easily manipulated by people like George Santos. He rolled the dice. He said, let's see if I can, and he won. Westbury, New York, Republican officials on Long Island, including Representative Andrew D'Esposito, Anthony. Tony D'Esposito. I am Tony D'Esposito, congressman from Long Island. Called on Wednesday for Representative George Santos to resign as he faces multiple inquiries into his finances, campaign spending, and fabrications, he told, on the campaign trail. The Nassau County Party chairman, Nassau County, that's New York, that's fancy New York. The Nassau County Party chairman, Joseph G. Cairo Jr., said that Mr. Santos, a first-term Republican, had lost the confidence of Republicans in his district. He lied to him. He just lied to him. He's disgraced the House of Representatives, and we do not consider him one of our congresspeople, Mr. Cairo said today on behalf of the Nassau County Republican Committee. Why is this interesting? It's interesting because, we've been hearing this from the Democrats, but now we're hearing it from the Republicans. Republicans in Congress are like, we're going to freeze him out. Okay, whatever. Hey, we the people, we voted for him. We voted for, not the royal we, the we that reside in this particular district in Long Island or wherever it is. I don't know. WWE is also trending today. WWE is trending. Now, this is an interesting story because, of course, Vince McMahon shows back up on the scene a couple of days ago. He stepped down because he was a naughty boy. Vince McMahon did naughty stuff with secretaries or whatever. And he stepped away. He was like, I feel so humiliated and ashamed. Okay, he didn't really do that. But he did say, I'm going to step away. And he stepped away. Vince McMahon no longer in charge of the WWE. Until like Sunday night. Sunday night, he's like, hey, I'm back. He's like, yeah, I decided that you people don't really care. It's been a couple of months. Y'all forgot because, again, you're stupid. You voted for George Santos. So I'm just going to come back and nobody's going to say anything. And nobody did. He just came back. And retook command of the WWE, the organization that he stepped away from in disgrace like 4 months ago. 4 months ago. He's back. All right, well, he came back now. It's starting to look kind of obvious why he came back. WWE is apparently brokering a deal with Saudi Arabia, the government of Saudi Arabia, who... What are they doing? Saudi Arabia is... So after they killed that journalist, remember a couple of years ago, they killed the American journalist for the Washington Post. They murdered him and hacked him up. And then we're like, we didn't do nothing. And then there were videos and people were like, well, that's not our guys. Anyway, so they did that. So ever since that, the entire world, the world's been really, they're so bad in Saudi Arabia. It was not good for the image, especially since Saudi Arabia has a new leader who's trying to be Mr. Cool Guy. Hey, everybody come to Saudi Arabia. We're not going to blow things up anymore. Come on, have fun. The women are driving now. It's crazy. You can stand on the corner and watch a woman drive a car. It's crazy in Saudi Arabia. So that's what he's trying to do. Trying to get people, and they're engaging in something called sports washing. It's a play on whitewashing, where you try and whitewash a bad situation so that it looks good. So Saudi Arabia has been engaged over the last couple of years in a sports washing campaign to sort of make the rest of the world go, oh, maybe Saudi Arabia ain't that bad. I don't know if they are or not, but So they started it out with the Live Golf Tour. They started this whole new golf tour and started paying golfers crazy amounts of money. And then other people were like, you can't take that blood money. That whole thing. It's blood money. It's Saudi Arabia. So that was a whole controversy. Saudi Arabia is now in negotiations to purchase the WWE. That's right. Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, which I think is perfect. If you are, let's say you're the government of Saudi Arabia and you want to sort of change the perception of your country, and you want to be able to do that for the rank and file Westerner, the average Westerner, the middle American, whatever WWE, wrestling, that's it. Nobody who watches wrestling gives a shit about Saudi Arabia's politics. So Saudi Arabia is going to buy WWE. It's going to be the same, except there's going to be There's going to be small incremental things throughout the course of the next few years of Saudi Arabia where you start to go, oh, Saudi Arabia seems fun. Whatever. They'll be like in Atlantis, like in the Bahamas, Atlantis. They'll like open an Atlantis in Riyadh, right? Like they'll show those commercials during WWE. And then suddenly you'll have people from Tennessee going to Atlantis, Riyadh because they saw it on wrestling. Anyway, that's the whole idea with whitewashing, where you try and change people's perceptions of your political positions or your political history by engaging in the sports, because sports brings the world together. Okay, whatever. So Saudi Arabia is reportedly, important word, reportedly in talks to purchase the WWE. And again, I think this is absolutely brilliant on the part of just brilliant. You want to capture the hearts and minds of the average American. Wrestling is how you do it. So they got the high end with the golfers, and then they got the low end. Once again, those of us in the middle, not being pandered to. As someone who is solidly in the middle, I would like somebody to pander to me. They always pander to the elites or, the tiki torch and pitchfork crew, which are the people who are ready to rebel and tear this whole thing down. Here's the latest story. WWE, okay? Here is the headline. Company not sold to Saudi Arabia, sources say. It's not yet. I mean, is that the other word we can add? It's not yet because they aren't willing to pay enough. I don't know, whatever it is. Here's the story. WWE has not been sold to Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. Yet. This, according to sources familiar with the situation, a deal has not been made between the two sides, despite widespread rumors saying otherwise. The reports started to circulate Tuesday night, claiming that Vince McMahon secured a massive payday by handing over the company reins to Saudi Arabia, which would take the WWE private once again. The speculation came just days after Vince McMahon brought himself back. I'm back! Brought himself back onto the organization's board of directors with the intent to help with TV deal negotiations and explore a potential sale of the company. So that's why he came back to sell the company. He came back to make sure that he gets his big piece and, all that. That's why he came back. Are they selling it to Saudi Arabia? Probably. I would absolutely. If they're going to be the biggest buyer and, they're not just buying it to turn a profit. See, Saudi Arabia would be buying the WWE for much more sinister reasons. They're buying the WWE in order to try and brainwash Americans into thinking Saudi Arabia ain't that bad. That's their plan. It's a long plan, 5-10 years. It's gonna be a slow roll, but incrementally over time, we're gonna start going. Saudi Arabia is a nice place to go on vacation. Spring break in Saudi Arabia. That's not gonna happen. They're going to have to radically change a whole bunch of rules for that. But you know what I'm saying? A sale to Saudi Arabia would certainly cause backlash with WWE fans. No, it won't. No, it will not. Not one WWE fan, not one guy who goes to the shows and paints his face and does all of that. The guy doesn't give a shit who owns WWE. Stop it. You know who is going to have a problem? People who have never watched wrestling. People who don't watch wrestling, people who don't care about wrestling, they're going to be the pearl clutchers. Oh, I can't believe the WWE is now owned by Saudi Arabia. Stop it. You don't watch it. You don't care about it. Let's see. A sale to Saudi Arabia would certainly cause backlash with WWE fans. No, it won't. Especially considering the country's history of human rights violations. Did you reread that? Did the person who wrote this, did he write that paragraph and then just move on and never read it back? Because when you read that back, that is absurd. Especially this is the deal breaker for the average wrestling fan. Their history of human rights violations. Oh, stop it. WWE fan doesn't care about Saudi Arabia's history of human rights violations. This is trying to create a story somewhere. Now, other people are going to have a problem with it. A lot of people are going to have a problem with it. Most notably, some high-profile wrestlers. Just as we saw with the PGA and Live Golf, there was, people like, I'm not going to go to Live. Who's our guy? Who's the guy that I like? The guy that I'm not a big wrestling guy. I don't watch wrestling, but he's like one of the biggest wrestling stars, or at least he was. And then he tried to do MMA. He was terrible. He was terrible. He's from my hometown. I can't even think of him. He lives in my hometown of Orland Park, Illinois. I can't think of his name. CM Punk. That's it. CM Punk. CM Punk has already tweeted about the Saudi Arabia possible merger with WWE, saying that he will never set foot or something like that. You know, I'm never going to do that again. CM Punk, look, CM Punk's got money. I know because I've driven past his house. I've seen his house. CM Punk's got crazy rich dude money. So, you know, he doesn't need to do it anymore. If he wants to take a principled stand on this, then he's probably the guy to do it because CM Punk's not a dummy. CM Punk is actually a pretty bright dude, pretty clever, he understands shit. You know what I mean? He's a wrestler, but don't get it twisted. A lot of those wrestler guys, and I've had occasion to meet a number of them, a lot of those wrestler guys are playing an act. They're completely different people in real life. Things can always change, but as of right now, we're told reports of a deal being set in stone with Saudi Arabia are simply not true. Okay, so all that means is that they're not done with the deal. But nobody denied that they're negotiating with Saudi Arabia. Nobody denied it. They just said there's not a deal at this time. Mega Millions is trending. Are we still in the Mega Millions? Well, how can we not be, right? I mean, that's just, how can you not just go? I don't understand it. Yeah, I got like $140 to my name, and I'm going to spend one of those dollars on a Mega Millions ticket. Come on, baby. Come on. Mega Millions rolled over again. So what we're looking for here on Friday night, is it Friday night's pay? Let's see here. Friday night. The Mega Millions jackpot has reached an estimated $1.35 billion, making it the second largest in the lottery's history. This after no winner snagged the big prize in Tuesday night's drawing. That's a boost from Tuesday, which is good for me because I forgot to buy a ticket last night. Totally forgot. Totally forgot. But I will get one for this coming Friday because I get my kid this weekend and I got to go running around. I got to go food shopping and stuff. So I'll get a ticket. I will take $1. You know what sucks? I used to justify big lottery purchases by using the change that was in my little drawer. Like in the car, you know, like I would take like, if it's like $1 for a ticket and it was like a big number, I'd go, okay, 4 quarters. I'd grab 4 quarters out of there. I'd go, give me one, just give me one. Can't do that anymore. I don't have change anymore. Who has change? There's no change. My sad little ashtray area in my car, because I don't smoke, my sad little ashtray area, it's just empty. It's just like, maybe there's like a gum wrapper in there. There's like nothing. It's so sad. It used to be overflowing with change. Pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, whatever it was all in there. If you needed a handful of cash, you would just reach and you'd go, how much is this, my man? Let's see here. So 1.35 billion. It'll be the second largest. That's a boost from Tuesday's jackpot of 1.1 billion, which saw no tickets match all 6 winning numbers. Numbers were 7, 13, 14, 15, 18, and the Mega Ball 9. While no ticket matched the jackpot drawing, 16 won the game's second tier prize, taking home up to $3 million. The drawing for the 1.35 billion prize, that'll be about $700 million in cash. Scheduled for Friday night. If won, it would be the second only to the 1.53 billion Mega Millions jackpot won in South Carolina in 2018. Remember that? That was a big one. Doesn't it seem like we're having like $1 billion lotteries now, like every couple of weeks? $1 billion. That was a big deal. It was, remember the first time it went over $1 billion and we were all nuts. Now it goes over $1 billion regularly. Okay. All right. So we don't do divisive politics here. We don't like to get involved in that kind of stuff. And we don't do culture wars as a general rule, but occasionally, you know, I'm sometimes I can be lured into a culture war conversation because I find them amusing. With that said, A story that we talked about yesterday has now taken on legs. It was basically a disposable story. It was not a big story. It was just a filler, one of the things. But here we are 24 hours later, and the story has taken on legs. And it is now a bigger story than it was because two idiots are fighting about it. And of course, these two idiots are politicians, one on the right side and one on the left side, and they are both idiots. Wait a second. One of them I think is just a real idiot. The other one I just think is wrong. Just wrong. Like one of them is just wrong. The other one's just an alcoholic idiot. And they're a drunk. They're a drunk. Anyway, here's the deal. The story came yesterday where I was talking about there is a person within the United States government who works. What does he work in? What area does he work in? I don't know. Whatever. What, food and drug? I don't know. Something like that. Some agency guy gave a quote to a newspaper saying that they were looking into banning gas stoves. Remember this from yesterday? This one got me so mad. Gas stoves. They want to ban gas stoves because 0.0.199 of noxious gases are released every time you turn on a burner. Shut up! We've been using gas stoves for, I don't know how, 100 years, at least 100 years. I don't know. I don't even know how long, right? More than 100 years. We've been using gas stoves. Generation after generation have grown up, flourished, and well, I mean, I guess not everybody flourishes. What I'm saying is we would have noticed a problem with gas stoves like back in the 60s. Like if there was a problem with gas stoves where people were like, oh my God, everybody's dying from gas stoves. So maybe there is a very small incremental leakage of something that's dangerous. Well, you know what? What about this? What about the cell phone? What about the radiator? What about all of that? What about this? What about when we're driving in our car with our windows down and the guy in front of us is just pumping black smoke and everything is dangerous. I swear to God, if they try to take away gas, well, they won't. This will get no traction because this is absurd. Do you know how shitty electric stoves are? I mean, if you are a cook, if you are someone who cooks stuff regularly, like, I don't know, every head of a household with kids in America, that person cooks. They are not going to give up their gas stove. So this is a stupid issue. I think we all know that there aren't going to be federal agents banging on your door at 3:00 in the morning going, we're here for the gas stove. That's not going to happen ever. But there are people out there who need to put that out. We need to make people think that. So remember the guy? He's a congressman now in Texas. But what was his name? He was President Trump's doctor, remember? And he goes, he is the most fit individual that has ever, I mean, it's just total no credibility. And then we learned that like he's an alcoholic who got drummed out of whatever for, being drunk all the time. And now he's a congressman and he tweeted out, you'll take my gas stove over my cold, dead hands. Do you see how absurd that is? This is, one would hope, a responsible member of the United States Congress, and he's ginning people up. He's trying to make people think that we're going to come, we, the government, I guess we all are part of the government. The United States government is going to come for their gas stoves. He's ginning people up. So guess who else gets involved now? Oh, God. Okay, so we got the one idiot and Ronnie Jackson. First of all, his name is Ronnie. You're a grown man. You should be Ronald or Ron. Ronnie, you just sounds like when you're a kid. Hey, my bike got stolen from the 7-Eleven. Yeah, it was Ronnie. Ronnie's a guy who steals your bike. Ronnie is not a congressman in the United States. Ronnie's a dirtbag name. Sorry if there are any Ronnies there, but it's kind of Ronnie. In some instances, Kenny. These are all names that are just like not trustworthy. So Ronnie Jackson is like trying to start a whole new thing. And it's going to be on Fox News. We'll see it on Fox News. You'll see it on Newsmax because these are the issues that the average person, the person who doesn't really pay attention to much stuff, not because they're incapable, but because, regular people have lives and they have important things going on in their lives. They can't be, one of these wonks on social media who knows about every vote that's matriculating its way through. That is not how regular people, you want to get regular people, tell them that you're taking their stove. And so that's this nonsense that's now being created. They're coming for your gas stove. So we got the idiot, Ronnie Jackson, who is such an idiot. He says something really stupid. And then guess who joins the party and says something even stupider? That's right, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the other idiot. You got, so these two idiots are going back and forth. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez decided to respond to Ronnie Jackson by saying, do you know that 0.2% blah, blah, blah noxious fluids are emitted every time you turn on one of these nonsense things? And it's like, oh, young lady. She's a United States Congressman. I'm sorry, Madam Congresswoman. You show the proper respect. Madam Congresswoman, stop it. Stop it. You responding to that. He's trolling. That is not a major story. As I said, it was just a filler little story that I found interesting yesterday. On any other day, it might not have even made the rundown. It was just a silly little story. And Ronnie Jackson is now decided that he's going to appeal to his low information constituents by telling them, or at least putting the fear in them, that the government's coming for their gas stoves, because that's something they can understand. That is something. My gas stove. Oh my God. Every time I have to go to my mom's, I have to cook on her electric stove, and that's terrible. I hate that electric stove. They can't take my... But Ocasio-Cortez then getting involved and basically just throwing gasoline on the old thing because of her presence? So stupid. So stupid. Ocasio-Cortez, shut up. Shut up. This is a stupid issue. You already have credibility problems, okay? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has no power. I've been saying this. She has zero power. What she has is social media clout. Now, maybe you could make the argument that in 2023, social media clout does translate into actual power, but let's not kid ourselves. She doesn't chair any committees. She's not on any important committees. She is now in the minority party. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is probably the most famous congresswoman in America, and she has no power. Why? Because she's been created as the boogie woman. She represents everything. I heard someone once say that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez scares the right so much because she represents every intern a 60-year-old white man has tried to date. But she now has power, which I thought was interesting, which is why they're like, yeah, it's... we're fine with an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez type as long as she's just getting us coffee and, trying to deal with our flirts and all that. That we're fine with her then. But once she has power and she can tell us that we're being pigs, we don't like her now. She doesn't need to be involved in this. She's already hated. This is so stupid. What? And Ronnie Jackson, well, I would expect nothing less from Ronnie Jackson. And truthfully, I guess now it is clear to me that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is just a troublemaker. There was no reason for her to get involved in this exchange with Ronnie Jackson. It's such a stupid, dumb issue. And yet here she is. Like she's going to change his mind? Like, did she expect Ronnie Jackson's response to be, I hadn't considered that. Thank you for that information. I will now go and study up on... Nobody's going to say that. Ronnie Jackson ain't going to say that. So stupid. Gas stoves. They're coming for your gas stoves. The good Lord came for someone. The good Lord took another one. That's right. We have a passing of note. This was kind of, I saw this one this morning and I was like, huh? What? I wasn't even sure they were real people. And now they're real people who are dying. Diamond famously one half of the pro-Trump MAGA social media force of Diamond and Silk. Diamond has passed away at the age of 51. Lynette Hardaway, an ardent supporter of former President Donald Trump and one half of the conservative political commentary duo Diamond and Silk, has died. She was 51 years old. 51? 51. Every time I saw the Diamond and Silk ladies, I just thought they were old grandmamas. I just thought they were like 51. My God. Diamond, carved out a unique role as a black woman who loudly backed Trump and right-wing policies, earning fame first on the internet and then as a cable television commentator. Her promotion of COVID-19 falsities eventually got her dropped from Fox News, but she landed on another right-wing. So she just dropped. She just dropped that at 51. Did she get the vax? Was she vaxxed? Did she just dropped dead? People are just dropping dead. People have been dropping dead since the first person slid out of their mama. People have been just dropping dead. Was she vaxxed? Somebody find out. Was Diamond vaxxed? Of course she wasn't. Of course she wasn't. But that's not. Look, vaxxed, not vaxxed. Probably has nothing to do with why she died. Probably just she seemed like a heavy-set woman. There was probably some hypertension issue. You know, it is funny though. It is. We ought to start asking: was Diamond vaxxed? Did the vax get her? Oh man, get on some Reddit threads. Start saying stuff like that. See where that goes. She and her sister. Did you know they were sisters? Diamond and Silk. I didn't know they were sisters. I thought they were just friends. She and her sister Rochelle Silk Richardson rose to prominence during the 2016 presidential campaign cycle when they appeared on stage in support of Trump, who embraced the two black women amid widespread accusations of racism and sexism on his campaign. Hardaway's, that's Diamond, her cause of death has not been released. Trump, who called her death really bad news for the Republicans. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? This is really bad news for the Republicans. A woman has died. A woman who, since 2016, at least as far as we know, has done nothing but praise you, stroke your ego, feed your every need and desire. She has been there for you. You used them for your own. And this is really bad news for the Republicans. Stop making everything political, you monster. You freaking weirdo. Stop it. You can't just say our beautiful. Here's what he should have said. Our beautiful Diamond of Diamond and Silk has just passed away. Actually, that's not what he said. Hold on. That's what somebody else said. Or was it? Our beautiful. That sounds very Trumpian. Let me see here. All right. All right. So Trump, who called her death really bad news for Republicans, in a Monday night post on his Truth Social platform, said it was totally unexpected. Our beautiful Diamond, already said, our beautiful Diamond of Diamond and Silk has just passed away at her home in the state she loves so much, North Carolina, Trump wrote. There was no better team anywhere at any time. This is really bad for the Republicans. What does this have to do with the Republicans? Stop it. Good Lord. Just say, she was wonderful. I enjoyed my time with her. Her presence will be missed. You can say nice things without having to make it be about you. What about you? The Republicans are coming for me. This is bad for them, so that means it's good for me. God, you're a monster. Just stop it. And no, I'm not a Biden guy. Shut up. God. All right, what else do we have here? What do we got from yesterday? Diamond and Silk, from today. Do you guys see the Golden Globes last night? Golden Globe. All right, let's quickly to winner. Did I pick any of the winners? I know I got a couple of them right. I was happy to see that Banshees of Inisherin won a whole bunch of stuff. That's a really good movie. I really like that movie. That's a really enjoyable movie. You gotta just... There's no car chases. There's no pop. It's a lot of dialogue. Really, the draw of the movie is the absurd premise. The premise is just it's absurd because it could so easily happen, but absolutely never does. And the premise of the movie is two friends living in this remote Irish village who have known each other their entire lives and they're best friends, and they do their jobs, and then they go and they drink at the pub every night, and they have long conversations at the pub. And they've been doing this for like 30, 40 years. It's Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell. And then one day, Brendan Gleeson, one day Brendan Gleeson just decides he don't want to be friends with him anymore. And there's only like 5 other people in the village. So you can't really avoid the person. And it's a movie about Colin Farrell trying to get his friend back and trying to figure out what he did that made this friend no longer want to be friends with him. And it's basically presented like that. He just looks at him and he goes, I've spent the last 30 years of my life every night drinking in this very same pub with you, talking about the very same nonsense that we talk about. And you know what I've discovered? I've discovered that you are boring. I have only a few years left in my life, and I am going to spend those years around people who stimulate me. That's the whole premise of the Banshees of Inisherin. And it's also very dark. It's also some dark things. It's a tragic, dark comedy, but it's very good. So it was nice to see the Banshees of Inisherin win stuff, because just imagine you. I don't care who you are. You're Jeff, you're Adam, whoever you are, Byron, your best friend. You show up somewhere and you see your best friend and you're like, hey man, what's going on? And your best friend's like, yeah, I'm not talking to you anymore. We're no longer friends. Don't ever approach me. And then walk away. Just like, imagine having to process that. Like at our age going, wait, what? I'm your kid's godfather. How would you can't just walk away from me? What do you mean walk? Yeah, I don't want to be friends anymore. I don't want to be friends. All right, so that was the whole Banshees of Inisherin thing. Takeaways from the show: Jared Carmichael threw some bump. Hear what he said about. So he made a Scientology joke just before introducing the cast of Top Gun Maverick, which Tom Cruise is Mr. Scientology guy. Tom Cruise last year, after the Hollywood Foreign Press was basically called out as racist and all that stuff, Tom Cruise returned his 3 Golden Globes. So Jared Carmichael, the host of last night's event, he comes out, he's holding these 3 Golden Globes in his hands. He said, I just found these. I guess these are the ones that were returned by Tom Cruise. Hey, here's something. Instead of looking for these, why don't we look for Shelley Miscavige? And the whole crowd just went, ooh. And then without missing a beat, he goes, ladies and gentlemen, the cast of Top Gun Maverick. So now, why is that so weird? Because Shelley Miscavige is the wife of the leader of the Church of Scientology, which, of course, Tom Cruise is like a cardinal. He's going to be the next pope of Scientology, probably. Don't kid yourself. 80-year-old Tom Cruise is going to be the top guy in Scientology. You watch. So Shelley Miscavige is the wife of the leader of Scientology. And ain't nobody seen her in like 10 years. Like, where'd she go? Like, she ain't speaking. No, Shelley Miscavige. And it's Scientology. And they're super rich and they're super powerful. And, he probably killed his wife 10 years ago and nobody is talking about it. Anyway, so Jared Carmichael brings that up on stage last night before introducing the cast of Top Gun Maverick. And the whole crowd just turned on him like, oh. Meanwhile, everybody at home who knows the story is like, ballsiest joke ever told on TV. Ballsiest joke. Truth to power, my friend. That's what that joke was. Truth to power. So I thought he was pretty good, although he's getting destroyed. He did. He had it. I thought he was great. I thought Jared Carmichael was great. What else? Let's see here. Should we go through some of the quick winners? What won? What are the big ones? We'll just do the big ones. Best movie, drama. The Fabelmans won. That's a Spielberg's movie. I don't know. Honestly, Spielberg hasn't made a movie that I've been interested in 20 years. I can't remember the last time Steven Spielberg made a movie and I was like, yeah, I got to see that. This Fabelmans look nice, but it looks slow and it looks very depressing and maybe sad. I don't know, whatever. But that one. Best performance, let's see here. Best performance by an actress in a motion picture drama, Cate Blanchett for Tar. I don't know. I like Cate Blanchett, but I don't know what Tar is. Best performance by an actor in a motion picture drama. I predicted this one, Austin Butler for Elvis. Austin Butler was so good as Elvis, and he won. And then he got up. Man, and he did his whole acceptance speech sounding just like Elvis, man. It's like he can't lose the voice now. And people online went nuts. They're like, that's not how he talks. That is not how he talked before the Elvis movie. Now he's just permanently going to talk like Elvis? That's how he sounds now? Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate the Golden Globes. He did that whole thing. People were weirded out by it. Best motion picture, The Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah, the one I just told you about. Best motion picture, musical or comedy, but it ain't a musical. It's a comedy. And it ain't even really a comedy. It's a dark comedy. It's dark. There's things that are going to make you laugh. Not a lot of punchlines, but there are some scenarios that you're going to go, oh my God, what is going on here? These people are nuts. The Banshees of Inisherin. That won for Best Motion Picture Comedy. Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. That went to Michelle Yeoh for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Never heard of this movie until last night. Then I heard about it a lot. Let's see here. Best Performance by an Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. That went to Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin. Okay. By the way, the title has nothing to do with anything. Like, I don't want to watch movies about banshees and something. It's not about banshees. Stop it. It's a poetic title. It'll make sense once you see the movie. You'll be like, oh, that's why it's called Banshees of Inisherin. You'll get it. Just stop it. Best Motion Picture non-English. We don't care about that. Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role in any Motion Picture. That went to Angela Bassett for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I don't know. I think I might have fallen asleep before she showed up. And that movie was so boring. I was so bummed out by that movie. I put the original Black Panther as one of the 3 best of the Marvel movies. It's one of my 3 favorites. So I was very excited about Wakanda Forever, and it sucked. It was so boring. Oh, my God. Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role in any Motion Picture. Ki Hugh Kwan. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. We're very, very into South Korean culture. We're very into South Korean entertainment. We are. It's a thing. It's definitely a thing. And they're just winning. And, it took me a while. It was Parasite. Remember when Parasite won the Oscar for Best Picture? I was like, I don't want to read a movie. But then I finally watched Parasite and I was like, okay, so reading a movie isn't that bad. That movie was freaking great. And then everybody's like, well, if you like Parasite, you need to see Train to Busan. And so then I watched the movie Train to Busan. And I'm like, holy crap, South Koreans make good movies. So I don't know. So maybe I'll have to see Everything, Everywhere, All at Once because it's won a whole bunch of awards. And I got to be honest, every time they showed a clip from the movie, I was like, whoa, that looks crazy. That doesn't look at all like what I expected this to be. It looks good. Looks really good. And then what was the other thing the South Koreans do? Well, of course, we got the boy bands. The South Korean pop music is everywhere. South Korean movies are everywhere. Squid Game, the South Korean television series, was like the biggest series in HBO or Netflix history, whatever. Best director went to Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans. Best screenplay went to Martin McDonagh for Banshees of Inisherin. Best original score, nobody cares. Best original song, nobody cares. Best television series drama. I seriously, I was so mad. House of Dragon. The Game of Thrones spinoff, House of Dragon, beat Better Call Saul, beat The Crown, beat Ozark. It beat Severance. Severance is so overrated. House of the Dragon did not deserve to win this. I don't know why it did. I think because it's the Hollywood Foreign Press and they like to cast votes for people with accents. So let's see. Better Call Saul, no accents. The Crown, heavy accents. But The Crown has won before. House of Dragon, heavy accents. Ozark, no accents. Severance, no accents. I don't think so. So there you go. That is honestly a good way to bet on Golden Globes. They like foreign stuff. They're the Hollywood Foreign Press. They don't just give things to Americans. They don't just, Hollywood doesn't, get all the awards. Best performance by an actress in a television series drama went to Zendaya for Euphoria, a show that I've never seen and will probably never watch. Best performance by an actor in a television series drama, that went to Kevin Costner for Yellowstone. That was cool. Good for him. I would have liked to have given that to Bob Odenkirk, I think, but Kevin Costner for Yellowstone is fine. Best television series, musical, or comedy, Abbott Elementary. Best performance by an actress in a television series, musical, or comedy, Quinta Brunson, Abbott Elementary. Best performance by an actor in a television series, musical, or comedy, Jeremy Allen White, The Bear. Oh, I hoped it into existence yesterday when we were running these down. He's Flip from Shameless. I don't know if you ever watched Shameless, but The Bear is a new show on Hulu. Well, actually, it's not new. It came out over the summer, but the first season is there if you want to watch it. It's really good. And Jeremy Allen White, I think Jeremy Allen White is going to be a good actor. I think that he's going to be somebody that's going to be around for a while. Jeremy Allen White, Flip from Shameless, won for The Bear last night. Best performance by an actor in a comedy series. Best television, limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television. White freaking Lotus. White Lotus, White Lotus, White Lotus, White Lotus. I just want to live in a world where everything is just White Lotus themed. White Lotus. So good. So nice to see that win. Best performance by an actress in a limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television. I really, really wanted that to go to Julia Garner for Inventing Anna. Luckily, Julia Garner won a trophy last night for Ruth Langmore on Ozark. I wanted her to win too because she's that good. Julia Garner did not win for Inventing Anna. That's insane. Amanda Seyfried won for playing Elizabeth Holmes in The Dropout. I believe that's another Hulu series. The Dropout was the story of Elizabeth Holmes, who we all just watched get sentenced to prison. I don't know. What did we watch? Do we know? Do we know what Elizabeth Holmes' deal is? I don't know. Anyway, Amanda Seyfried won for The Dropout. Best motion picture by an actor in a limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television. That went to Evan Peters. He played Dahmer. Hated that series. Only got 3 episodes in and went, this is just gore porn. No, thank you. Jennifer Coolidge won for best performance by an actress in a supporting role, limited series, blah, 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 for White Lotus. Jennifer Coolidge stole the show last night. Jennifer Coolidge, and by the way, I watched it the way the Golden Globes should be watched. I watched it at 11 o'clock online with the ability to just skip through everything that I didn't want to see. Commercials, acceptance speeches, all of that. I will tell you when I stopped, though, anytime Jennifer Coolidge walked up on stage, that woman is awesome. And first of all, she's so interesting. She's such an interesting, anxiety-ridden, confident, but then also supremely not confident. Like her whole image, that thing, that uncomfortable bombshell. That's sort of how she has created her brand. And now she's an aging woman. She's 60-something years old. But, she was Stifler's mom. She was the MILF. So we know where she was also Jerry Seinfeld's massage therapist girlfriend. Remember in Seinfeld where Jerry all he wanted was for his girlfriend to give him a massage. But she wouldn't give him a massage because that's what she does for a job. And she didn't want to do her job. So she took on Kramer as a client, and Jerry got really jealous because Kramer was getting all of these really great massages from his girlfriend. That was Jennifer Coolidge. That's how long she's been around, and she's been struggling. And just within the last, 5 years, maybe decade, she has started with a new generation. I think it was a younger generation. I think it was the Legally Blonde people. I think it was, her roles, her smaller roles in those kinds of movies that really ingratiated her to a younger generation. And now she's a goddess. She is an absolute goddess. Jennifer Coolidge was like the belle of the ball last night. And she gave a speech. She gave a couple of speeches. She did she won awards, and then she also presented awards. So she was up there quite a bit. And during one of her acceptance speeches, she gave this, and Jennifer Coolidge, it's hard to know when to take her seriously, so that when she kind of gets serious, it holds so much more weight and heft because, she doesn't get serious very much. And in her Jennifer Coolidge way, she started talking about how she struggled for so long. And, she's been doing this for like 40 years and nobody until the last couple of years has really given a crap about who she is, and just how grateful she is to all the people who over the course of the last 30 years would give her little jobs that, as she said, would get me to the next job. She was talking about how she never had the big series. She never had the big starring role in a movie. She was always like, but that's fine, right? So she would get this job, and that job would allow her to continue acting for the next year. And then another job would come along, and then that would allow her until she's at the point where she is now. It was a really beautiful speech. It was really, especially coming from her, who just makes us all so happy. Like Jennifer Coolidge just, I don't know. I start to smile the minute I see her. She's so funny. She's so weird. She's just interesting and sweet. She's got all those things going for her. But she said one thing that I thought was really interesting. She said, I have lived on this hill for 30 years. She's talking about the neighborhood she lives in. Said, I've lived on this hill for 30 years, and they have the greatest parties on this hill. All of my neighbors have these great parties. And for 30 years, I was never invited to any of the parties. And now all of a sudden, I'm invited to all the parties. Could you imagine living in the same cul-de-sac as Jennifer Coolidge, having a party and not inviting Jennifer Coolidge to come by for the party? Anyway, it's a big night for her. Really good night for her. She's adorable. What else do we need here? Best performance by an actress in a supporting role in a musical comedy or drama series. That went to Julia Garner for Ozark. We like that. Another one went to Abbott Elementary. Look, Abbott Elementary won a lot. White Lotus won a lot. Banshees of Inisherin won a lot. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once seems to have won a lot. And that's it. There you go. All right. There you go. That's your Hollywood report for today. What else do we have here? The SAG Awards were announced. Don't worry, we ain't gonna do the SAG Awards. SAG Awards. Let's see who they're nominating. No, we won't. It's all the same stuff. It's gonna be all the same people. Funko and Dolly Parton are trending. Why? Because Funko, they make those. My kid likes Funko stuff. They're collectibles. They're not bobbleheads, but they're like little figurines that you can buy at gamer stores and stuff like that. A lot of times they're like gamer characters or cartoon characters or anime or whatever. Funko, which has turned into a big, big collecting thing. As I said, people just like to go. They're making a Dolly Parton Funko. Whatever. Hey, Dolly Parton is in that Jennifer Coolidge kind of category. Whatever. If it's cool with Dolly, it's cool with me. Here's something that is trending nationally that we'll talk about because it impacts us here locally. And that is, so the story that is going around has people, I don't know if they're outraged. Actually, I don't want to misrepresent the way this story is being. So I'll just read it to you, okay? A Dallas restaurant group is getting hit with scathing reviews over a 3% fee to fund employees' health care and time off. But it's part of a growing trend. Diners at a pair of Dallas restaurants will now be charged a special 3% fee on their tabs. The owner introduced the charge to cover health insurance and paid time off for their staff. Such fees have been around for nearly a decade across the U.S., though a few have faced legal challenges. Imagine that. Imagine going to court over a 3% fee on your bill. It's just 3%. So what is that, like 3 pennies on the what? Stop it. So for every dollar, it's 3 pennies. Look, that's the owners of 2 trendy Dallas establishments. All right, that's important. Make a note there. Trendy. These are fancy dancy trendy places that we're not going to, okay? So this is a place, these are places where they'll charge you $25 for a cocktail, okay? Just so we know these places in Dallas. We're familiar with them. They exist. That's what these 2 restaurants are. They are super high-end restaurants, trendy, fancy places. The owners of 2 trendy Dallas establishments have rolled out a new fee they say will go towards covering health insurance and paid time off for their workers. Rye, it's called Rye. It's just called Rye. Welcome to Rye. Rye, an American small plates restaurant, and its next door sibling, Apothecary. Apothecary and Rye are these 2 places. A craft cocktail bar. They're now tacking a 3% surcharge onto diners' tabs to fund the benefits for work staff. The charge, which is new for the group in 2023, is separate from a gratuity. Initial reaction to the announcement was completely positive. Walkabout Hospitality Group CEO Tanner Agar told Business Insider, but that's shifted after his story appeared in the Dallas Morning News on Friday. Since then, Agar says numerous reviewers have been leaving 1 and 2-star ratings on Google and Yelp, accusing his team of being deceptive about the charge and referring to the restaurant staff as servants. Okay. Here's why this is a non-story. Here's where it's not a non-story. It's a non-story if you start doing this at Applebee's. Or, I mean, it's a story if you start doing this at Applebee's. It's a story if you start doing this at places where, people are just trying to get a quick, inexpensive meal, get in, get out. That's when, families on a budget, that kind of thing. Special occasion. Let's go to Applebee's for little Timmy's 10th birthday, right? These are working class, all American, salt of the earth families. You try and pull this shit at a place like Applebee's, I got a problem with it. I would go with, well, you need to figure out a way to take care of your own employees, or we need to change the whole system, or we need bigger minimum wage, whatever. I don't know. It's very complicated. I haven't spent a whole lot of time thinking about it. But this is at a place called Apothecary, where I'm sure that they have like a $40 hors d'oeuvre. So if you are going to a place like Apothecary, and then at the end of the night, you're looking at the bill and you are bickering over a 3% charge for your waitstaff, and you're going to make a big deal about it, you're a jerk. You're a jerk. You have just spent $25 for a man. I'll take one of them $25 Manhattans. What's this 3% on my bill? How dare they? You're a piece of shit. You might not be wrong. You might have a point. But you're a piece of shit. I mean, we're just talking above and beyond everything else. You might technically have a case to say that they shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be adding this. But you just bought a $25 margarita. Fuck you. You're an asshole. You are an asshole, and you are just causing a problem where a problem doesn't need to be. Again, I say this. They try to pull this crap at Chips Hamburgers, or they try and pull this crap at like Applebee's, then maybe we'll have a reason to be upset. But Apothecary and Rye, I don't think so. I'm not going to worry about it. Let those rich people do whatever the hell they want. 3%? What is this? I was already going to tip 7%. Yeah, you were, weren't you? You piece of shit. You 7% tipping piece of shit with your $25 drinks. Another round of drinks for the table. That'll be $400. You still want to bitch and moan about the 3% that was added to the girl that had to schlep all this stuff over? Yeah, I used to be a bartender. I used to work in the service industry. Nothing makes you hate the rank and file American like being a bartender. Actually, that's not true. A bartender at a good bar can have a pleasurable experience. But I know a dude who was a bartender at Chili's for 10 years, and there is not a person who hates his fellow man more than my friend who was a bartender at Chili's for 10 years. He's just seen it all. Chili's. Again, maybe if you're at like a fancy place, high-end clientele, or maybe if you're at like a corner bar where it's all the same people all the time. Hey, Joe, like cheers. Maybe that's fine. But just dealing with endless streams of randos coming in and out of a Chili's for 10 years, that's going to really weigh heavy on your soul. All right. What else do we got here? Dallas restaurants. Tesla. So Tesla is trending not because the company's falling apart, but because something else weird is happening here with Tesla. Apparently, Tesla has to tell their peeps, their Tesla drivers, Tesla's got to tell their people, hey, the remote control driving thing? I don't know. Isn't there like a robot driver thing option on some Teslas, right? Where it's like, I can just go to sleep. I can just go to sleep and it'll take me home. Well, maybe people are sleeping. I don't know. That's not the point of this story. People are getting drunk. People are drunk driving and then allowing Tesla and their automated AI to basically pilot them home. I don't even know. Is that how it works? Or don't you have to here's where it does work. Do you know why most people get pulled over for DUI? This is a fact. This is the number one reason most people get pulled over for a DUI is because they forget to put their headlights on. That is the number one thing. A guy who's had a couple of drinks is more likely than a normal person to forget to put the headlights on. And so he starts driving. I'm maintaining. I'm a little bit. Why is this cop pulling me over? And then the cop shows up. He's like, have your headlights on. And the dude's like, don't. And then the cop's like, you smell like bourbon. And then, we're off to the races. Tesla's going to turn them headlights on for you. That's one thing it's going to do. This Tesla's just going to go, boop. All right, you're all ready. The lights are on. We've determined. Let's see. A Tesla owner has bragged about using his vehicle's full self-driving feature to drive home while drunk. This is a worrying confession that should give anybody pause. I admitted the other day I was a little bit tipsy after Christmas, the user bragged during a recent where is it? We don't need all this. I was probably drunk, he added, but with FSD, which is the driving thing, but with FSD, it drove me home. I mean, flawlessly. To be abundantly clear, intentionally driving under the influence, with or without FSD, is not only illegal, but flabbergastingly irresponsible, effectively gambling with the safety of others on the road. Tesla made an unfinished beta version of its FSD software available to the broader public in November. Despite plenty of well-documented shortcomings putting other drivers who share the road at risk, that is a problem. Despite its misleading name, full self-driving feature does not, in fact, allow a Tesla to fully drive itself and is more designed to promote more active guidance and assisted driving under your active supervision. So that's what the company says. But here's another way that it could help you out, because another primary reason that drunk drivers get pulled over is because they're in and out of lanes. Improper lane usage. You know, they're swerving, right? You are swerving. Now with the Tesla, no. You can be drunk. Your headlights are going to be on. You're not going to swerve. You're going to stay right in that lane. I don't know why we don't embrace this. I don't know why why is the reaction to this new technology? Well, you can't use it to get home safe if you're drunk. Why not? Why not? What? Because drunk driving is a problem. Yeah, and self-driving cars could solve that problem. But drunk driving is not something you should do. No, we all know that. But now we have technology that can, eliminate. So now we can still get drunk, and then we can get in the car and we can go home. We can do that. No! I don't know. I think this is the wave of the future. I think that self-driving cars are going to take drunks home for the next 100 years. That's the future. But that's wrong. How is it wrong? We are eliminating drunks from the road. How is that wrong? I don't understand what your problem is. Look, if a self-driving car can get drunks home from the bar without killing a mom and her kids in their minivan, why would we have a problem with it? Because it just doesn't seem right. All right. Well, you don't seem right. How about that? You, sir, you don't seem right. So that's what's going on with Tesla. Gwen Stefani is trending today. Gwen Stefani is trending. This is so, oh God, do I hate this. I said at the start of every show that we don't dabble in culture wars very much, but one of the areas of culture war discourse that I absolutely love is the cultural appropriation bullshit that we're all forced to put up with. Like, really? White guy can't wear a sombrero? A sombrero? Really? No, piss off. I'm a white guy. I'll wear a sombrero anytime I want. Hell, I'm Irish. You don't see me on St. Patrick's Day yelling at everybody about, you're not Irish. People walking around with, kiss me, I'm Irish, or I'm Irish today. I'm 100% Irish. You're not Irish. That's so stupid. We live in a melting pot. This entire country is based on cultural appropriation. It's a bouillabaisse of different ethnicities and influences. That is what we are. So stop it. So Gwen Stefani's getting hammered for something she did like 15 years ago. Probably even more than that. Well, okay, so Gwen Stefani's really big into Japanese culture. She loves Japanese culture. She's been all about the Japanese culture thing since Harajuku, since back in those days, the Gwen Stefani Harajuku days. So Gwen Stefani's being accused yet again. The blonde from Southern California is being accused of cultural appropriation because she's really into Japanese culture. How is that a bad thing? How is that a bad thing? Wow, I'm really interested in Japanese culture. Cultural appropriator! What are you talking about? I'm just wearing an I Love Japan shirt. Yeah, you're not Japanese. People are just looking for things to be angry about. Gwen Stefani, she says she's basically Japanese, though, which is kind of causing a problem because she's definitely not. She's not Japanese. Gwen Stefani raised eyebrows in a new interview while reflecting on her love for Harajuku culture. The topic came up when the pop star looked back on her original beauty brand, Harajuku Lovers, which she unveiled 4 years after the release of her debut solo album, Love Angel Music Baby. That's a great album. That is a great album. 2005? 2004. It says it right here. That is a great album. Speaking to Allure magazine, she explained that her genuine interest in all things Japanese came from her dad, who spent much of his professional career traveling between Anaheim, California, and Tokyo while working for Yamaha. That was my Japanese influence, and that was a culture that was so rich with tradition, yet so futuristic, with so much attention to art and detail and discipline, and it just fascinated me, she told the magazine, adding that she then traveled to the country on her own as an adult. I said, my God, I'm Japanese, and I didn't even know it. I am, you know, she said. Whether that statement is hyperbolic, Stefani insisted there was nothing but innocence in her devotion to heritage. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. When people embrace cultures that are not their own, and they're doing it in a way that isn't attempting to marginalize them or subjugate them or somehow put your culture and race above theirs, how is that a problem? I just don't get it. I mean, and how far are we willing to go? You know what I mean? Will the people of Philly suddenly start getting bent out of shape when someone in Nebraska eats a cheesesteak? Hey, you're culturally appropriating Philly culture. No, of course not, because that sounds fucking stupid, doesn't it? Well, all the other things sound just as stupid, especially when there's no malice, no harmful intent with it, right? I love the whole cultural appropriation thing. I will willingly, lovingly, and exhaustively continue to appropriate any culture I damn well want. If I want to, actually, I wouldn't know how to do it. And what culture do I want to appropriate? Well, like, is there one that I want? Is there like one that I don't even know? Oh. Now, anyway, moving on. This is a weird one. This is a weird story. We're running out of things to talk about here. We're running out of stuff for today, but we still have more. We still do have more, so don't worry. But this was a weird story. I wouldn't normally talk about this, but this caught my eye this morning. Because I've never heard of this person. But, okay, so the HBO TV show Euphoria, I think Zendaya just won an award last night for it. Euphoria is not a show that I'm going to watch. It seems like it's about college girls dating. You know what it is? You know what Euphoria looks like? Do you remember the HBO series Girls? Remember that show Girls? Euphoria looks like the latest version of Girls, except the producers went, we should hire attractive people this time. And so Euphoria looks to me to be the same thing as Girls, but with attractive people. I don't know. One of the attractive people on this show, Euphoria, did you know this, is a full-blown porn star. There's like a porn star who is a big porn star who is one of the actual normal acting stars of Euphoria. Someone by the name of Chloe Cherry, who I've never heard of before, but I immediately looked her up and I was like, okay, whatever. She's one of these porn girls that I think probably tries to do I'm just a little girl and I'm a dirty little girl, daddy. You know, does that whole creepy thing, which is uncomfortable and yet wildly popular. I mean, there are a lot of dudes who are into the whole barely legal thing. I don't know. I like a woman. I think 28 to 50. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good age in there. Maybe we keep it closer to 30. I don't know. What I'm saying is Chloe Cherry doesn't want the royal treatment. In the latest episode of Emily Ratajkowski's podcast, High Low, the 25-year-old actress Cherry revealed why she ended her career as a porn star following her turn as Faye in HBO's Euphoria. What do you need to explain? You're doing porn because you need to make rent. Okay, that's why you're doing porn. You are now starring on an award-winning HBO series. Of course, you're going to stop doing porn. No, I just really wanted to address this because people don't. What? People don't do porn because they want to do porn. People do porn because they don't want to wait tables. That's how people get into porn. Meanwhile, she ends. The reason I find this interesting is because I don't believe this has ever happened before. And I don't know to what extent of success she had in porn. I don't know if she's like one of the big names or whatever. I mean, when I still think like, who's the biggest name in porn? Is it still Riley Reid? That was the default name that you always went to. Riley Reid is the biggest porn star in the world. I don't know. Is it who's the other one? Who's the one that I like? I like that. Brandy Love. That she's still around. Brandy Love. That's a woman, boy. Brandy Love is a woman. She's still around. I don't know. I don't know who this Chloe Cherry is, but she doesn't have to explain why she stopped doing porn once she got on the hit HBO series. I don't think that's ever happened before. Think about it. Has anyone ever gone from pornography into mainstream success, like extended, sustained mainstream success as an actor? Now there have been rumors, right? Like Stallone did a porn and then he became Stallone. Well, we don't, and that wasn't porn the way we classify porn today. Who was it? Like Sasha Grey, right? Remember, I used to watch Entourage. Sasha Grey had a story arc on Entourage, and she was a very big porn star back then. Sasha Grey did some normals, and then Sasha Grey made a regular movie where she played like a real Hollywood movie. She was a star of a real, but then nothing. Like it's been 12 years since those things, and nothing. It's not like she's got an NBC sitcom. She didn't go anywhere with it. Has anybody ever made that transition from pornography, from full-on porno actress to, I'd like to thank the Academy? I mean, obviously it's never gone that far, but this Chloe Cherry, I just thought that was interesting. Look at that. She's an actual porn star and she's on HBO's Euphoria. Still not going to get me to watch it. I just, like I said, I never saw an episode of Girls, and I'm not going to watch Euphoria. It's just, like I said, Euphoria is just girls with attractive people. That's what Euphoria is. What else do we have here? Okay. Oh, this is fun. All right. So, you know how they do like the All Pro and Pro Bowl? Well, All Pro and Pro Bowls are two totally different things. One is kind of a dismissible accolade, and the other one's really important. Like if you're a pro football player and you get All Pro, that's a big deal. All Pro is a very big deal. Pro Bowl, not such a big deal. Like you can be like, if you go to the Pro Bowl, but you don't make All Pro, it's like, anyway, the players, this was tweeted out by Adam Schefter earlier today. I thought this was really interesting. Apparently this is the first time they've done this. Let me see. How does Schefter say? Here is the inaugural. Yeah, so it's the first time they've done it. This comes from Adam Schefter. Here is the inaugural Players All-Pro team via the NFL Players Association. So for the first time, the actual players have decided to all get together and say, who's the best quarterback in football? Who's the best running back? Who's the best wide? Who's the best right tackle? So they went and they did that. And it's pretty cool. I like this because these are the players. When sports writers and other people like that, management scouts and all, when they vote for these awards, these All-Pro, I don't really trust it. Did you vote for the guy that had a drink with you? You know what I mean? It's like, it just seems very shady. But if the players are going to get together and they're going to say, oh man, I'll tell you, man, the hardest guy to tackle in the league is this guy. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things. That holds more weight with me. So this is interesting. The 2022 Players All-Pro first team. Quarterback. Who is your quarterback as voted on by the NFL players? Current NFL players all voted for this one guy to be the quarterback of this All-Pro first team. Anybody? Patrick Mahomes. Can't argue with that. Cannot argue with that. Running backs. They went with Josh Jacobs. Woo! Just the time to hit that free agent market. Fullback. Kyle Juszczyk, the guy from San Francisco. Wide receivers. They went with two. I'm not as sold on Devontae Adams. I mean, I know he's a great receiver. Don't get me wrong. He's a great receiver, but he's got Green Bay Packers stink on him for me. And he's hurt my team too many times. So screw him. But Justin Jefferson is the other wide receiver. Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in football.
I'm not going to argue with you about it. He just is. He is so good. He is so take the top off good. Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams were voted by the players as the best wide receivers in football. Tight end, Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce. Are the Kelce boys going to make it a twosome? They sure are, because Jason Kelce is the center on this team. Two brothers. Jason Kelce, center for Philadelphia, and of course, Travis Kelce, tight end for Kansas City. I heard somebody say something in passing. One of the guys on TV mentioned Travis Kelce with Kansas City and just described him. They were talking about all the things that Patrick Mahomes has and what Kansas City has going into the playoffs. And somebody just sort of said, they got Travis Kelce, who's the greatest tight end in the history of the game. And then they've got, and they moved on. And I was like, wait, what? Huh? Greatest tight end in the history of the game, Travis Kelce. Okay. All right. I just had never heard it put out there like that, because the default is always Gronk. Gronk is a great, or, Gonzalez or whatever. But Gronk is always, Travis Kelce is an interesting person to put in there. He certainly is one of the best, one of the greatest of all times. So Travis Kelce, he makes the tight end. Jason Kelce, his older brother. Yeah, Jason's older. Jason Kelce gets the center position. Trent Williams with the 49ers gets left tackle. Joel Bitonio gets left guard. I apologize. I don't know Joel. I'm not up on my AFC North interior lineman. Right guard, Zach Martin for your Dallas Cowboys. How about that, Zach Martin? Right guard, best right guard in the league, Zach Martin of your Dallas Cowboys. Right tackle, Lane Johnson, Philadelphia. How many guys does Philadelphia have on this list? Oh, my God. 2 on the offensive line. Very nice. All right. Edge rusher. Let's go to defense, shall we? The players in the NFL have named the best 2 edge rushers in football. Nick Bosa of the San Francisco 49ers and Myles Garrett of Cleveland. I almost said Indians. Cleveland Browns. Nose tackle. If you're so inclined to be playing that technique, that's fine. Nose tackle, Dexter Lawrence of the New York Giants. Off-ball linebackers, 2 of them, and this is easily the 2 best off-ball linebackers in football. And nobody can argue with this. Fred Warner, San Francisco, and Roquan Smith of Baltimore. Roquan, watched him the first 4 years of his career, loved Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith is an absolute wrecking machine who, for some reason, is always under the radar. Like, I don't know if he doesn't self-promote or whatever, but Roquan Smith is an absolute wrecking machine. And when we lost Roquan Smith, we didn't lose him. We traded him. It was a thing. He had to go. We were dumping salaries. Look, we know what this year is about as Bear fans, okay? So Roquan had to go. Roquan was just plug and played right into the Ravens defense. And he all of a sudden just turned that defense into one of those scariest defenses in the NFL. That's Roquan. That's very good. Could you imagine a defense with Roquan Smith and Fred Warner just side by side? Ooh. You ain't going across the middle. Ain't nobody going across the middle or dropping back, because both of them are modern linebackers who can drop back, who don't have to just be coming, whose job isn't to just clog the middle. They have they have sideline to sideline responsibilities. Cornerback, Patrick Surtain of Denver and Darius Slay of Philadelphia. Those are good picks. Free safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick for Pittsburgh. Strong safety, Derwin James of the Chargers. Kick returner, Cordarrelle Patterson of Atlanta. Punt returner, Kavontae Turpin of your Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys with 2 players on the list. And then core teams, which are, special teams, a bunch of dudes we don't know. Long snapper, punter, Tommy Townsend of Kansas City. Kicker, Jason Myers of Seattle. Long snapper, Morgan Cox of Tennessee. So there you have it. That's an interesting list. It's an interesting list because typically we don't get to a consensus of who the players think are the best among them. I think that probably has more weight than a bunch of sports writers going, that guy was a jerk to me, so I'm not voting for it. What else do we have here? We always do these when Study Finds. Study Finds is one of my favorite websites for these kinds of stupid things. Friendliest cities in America. Are you ready? What are the top 5 friendliest cities in America? Well, let's see if I've ever been to any of these. Number 1, Honolulu, Hawaii. should not be on the list. Honolulu, Hawaii should not be on a list of the friendliest cities in America because Honolulu, Hawaii is entirely dependent on tourism. So, of course, anybody who goes to Hawaii is going to be greeted by people who understand that the economy of their islands are dependent on people having a good time. The people in Hawaii are so nice. Did you tip them? Yeah, that's why they were nice. Okay? It's a service kind of Honolulu, Hawaii, friendliest places in America. Number 2 on friendliest places in America. What else do we have? We've got Newport, Rhode Island. This is an odd one because Newport, Rhode Island sucks. Well, first of all, it's gorgeous. It's super rich. It is the super rich people. It is the super rich people with their yachts and their boating and their beach houses and all that kind of stuff. That kind of nonsense, which is why it's weird that they're nice, really. Newport, Rhode Island is an island city that is home to rich history and beautiful coastlines. Known for being a popular New England summer vacation spot, Newport tops the list of most welcoming places in the continental U.S. Travelers will enjoy the rich history that is the island city. Between touring the stately Gilded Age mansions, visiting the International Tennis Hall of Fame. They've got a tennis Hall of Fame. Only rich people play tennis. Well, where's the Polo Hall of Fame? Is that in the next town over? All right, I don't care about that. I don't care about Newport. I can't believe they're nice there. Those rich pricks. Bunch of rich pricks. Number 3, New Orleans, Louisiana. Everybody's friendly in New Orleans because everybody's trying to steal from you or they're just drunk. There you go. New Orleans, friendly people. Whenever I think of New Orleans, I get that noise in my head. I'm not a big New Orleans fan. Ooh, I know you're not supposed to say that, especially in Dallas, since, everybody from Dallas loves New Orleans. Overrated. Kind of skanky. They got in the middle of their downtown. This is what I could never understand any self-respecting major American city. In the middle of their downtown, they have, right across from the casino, and maybe this has changed. Maybe they finally did something with it. But right in the middle of downtown, they got a 60-story skyscraper right there in the middle of downtown, in the middle of the tourist section. It's like a 60-story skyscraper that appears to have been boarded up and shut down for the past 40 years. It's just right there. And every time I go to New Orleans, I go, whoa, how can you be a tourist city and then just have this eyesore sitting there? I don't know, maybe it's gone. I don't know, whatever. Number 4, friendliest cities, Chattanooga, Tennessee. They're probably nice. I've been to Tennessee. Everybody in Tennessee seems pretty nice. Yeah, Memphis. I like Memphis. I love Memphis. Memphis is better than New Orleans. There you go. I said it. That's right. I'll die on that hill. I will die on that hill. Memphis, better than New Orleans. Number 5 on the list of nicest, friendliest cities in America, Asheville, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, Asheville, North Carolina. North Carolina is one of them states. You ever make a list? You ever look at the states? You ever make a list of what states you haven't been to? North Carolina is one of them states I haven't been to. I haven't been to about 20. You think you're well-traveled. You're like, I've been all over this country. And then you look at a map and you go, I don't think I've ever been to Idaho. You look at a map, you're like, yeah, I guess I never actually have been in Delaware, right? I mean, there's a whole bunch of places. I've never been to North Carolina. I've been close. I've been to Virginia, and I've been to the Cape Hatteras area of Virginia. There's no Cape Hatteras area of Virginia. If you were in Cape Hatteras, you were in North Carolina. No, I know that I was not in North Carolina. I was somewhere, I don't know, somewhere over there. What else do we have here? You know what? That's going to do it. That's going to do it for all the stuff that I've had prepared for you today. Look at us, 1 hour and 53 minutes. Let's jump over to Twitter. Let's see what kind of nonsense is happening on Twitter right now. What kind of stupid things are people talking about? Love You Alba. Love You Alba is trending at number 1. Is this like a Jessica Alba thing? Could there be more than one Alba? I only have room in my life for one Alba. I don't know what Alba is. Love you, Al. No idea. Never mind. Here's my rule. If I'm looking at something that is trending and I click on it and I can't tell within the first 3 why it's trending, I move on. I just figure it's obviously not a unifying story. It's just a bunch of stupid things. Velma is trending. Why is Velma trending? Dare I? Velma's the gay one on Scooby-Doo. They made her gay. People didn't like that. But what were you looking at for the past 40 years? She's obviously gay.
In a fish pond, we just found out that Scooby's been named as one of the heirs to a fortune left to him by an old Southern colonel. Scooby saved him from drowning in a fish pond.
Well. Okay. But he's dead now, right? Yeah.
I don't know what we're looking at, but this is why Velma is trending, and I don't know. So we're going to move on from that. That was a clip from what looked like a modern Scooby-Doo. Aaron Donald is trending. I don't know why he's trending. Is he trying to get out? You know what I love? I'm loving what is happening with the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams are just... The Los Angeles Rams have been in like 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. The Los Angeles Rams have been really good. The Los Angeles Rams just won the Super Bowl last year, and now their coach might be leaving. Imagine that. Imagine 1 year after winning a Super Bowl, the coach leaves the team. Something has gone wrong here. They've also, McVay has given all of his assistant coaches permissions to openly interview with other teams. He hasn't made a decision on whether or not he's coming back or not. But speaking of, if they are going to just completely tear down the Los Angeles Rams, and it's probably time. This might be a new thing that we are seeing in the NFL. We saw the Philadelphia Eagles do it first to great success. Certainly this year, where we're seeing the success that the Philadelphia Eagles have had with this. Chicago Bears are in the middle of doing it. Maybe the Los Angeles Rams are doing it next. And what is it that they're doing? They take a look at their team and they say, let's get rid of everybody. And they just tear it all the way down to the studs. And then they accumulate the cap space to be able to participate in free agency. And then they start building through the draft. It takes about a 2-3 year process. The Philadelphia Eagles did it fairly quickly. Philadelphia Eagles were able to turn it around fairly quickly. Hopefully my Bears will be able to do the same thing. We'll see. But it looks like the Los Angeles Rams, a team that just won the Super Bowl last year, the Los Angeles Rams might be tearing it all down. And it's understandable, because in order to get this process is you tear it all down, you have money, you overpay, you put a team together, you make crazy deals. And you make these crazy deals that people go, oh, they're going for it, right? Well, the Rams are obviously going for it. And when you do this, when you go for it, you tend to overextend yourself and you put yourself in a precarious economic position moving forward. So if you win the Super Bowl, good. That's what you did it all for. But now it looks like there's a trend in American football where after a team wins a Super Bowl, they are so bloated with salary cap and aging players and guys who, Matthew Stafford, he's got a broken neck or whatever. Their quarterback team is a mess. So maybe is that what we're looking at with the Rams? Are they tearing it all down to the studs and going to rebuild? We'll see. Fallout Boy is trending. I don't know why they're trending. I don't want to click on it. Maybe I should. Maybe somebody died or something. No, you know what? I'm not going to. All right, folks, that's it. We're going to wrap the show up. We'll be back tonight. We're going to do ourselves hold on. But we're going to do a Pillow Talk tonight. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Come one, come all, 9 o'clock. We do it every Monday through Thursday. Current events talk. It's just me and him. It's a conversation. What'd you see today? What's going on with you today? And then he tells me, and then I do the same thing. And it's a back and forth kind of conversation. Join us. We do it every Monday through Friday. We do it every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. All right.
I've got my poetry.
Frank says Velma was a nerd to me as a kid, not sexual. Well, that's good because she was a cartoon character. I didn't. Although I say that, but Daphne was hot. Daphne was a hot cartoon character. Velma wasn't. Velma was never like a hot cartoon character. You know who I always thought was hot? And it's weird. Judy Jetson. I always thought Judy Jetson had something. I was very attracted to Judy Jetson. I was also very attracted to Grown Up Pebbles. Remember Pebbles and Bam Bam? Remember when they got their own? They were the little kids on the Flintstones, but then like a bunch of years later, after the cartoons grew up, they were like teenagers. They had to wait like 15 years so that the cartoon characters could be believable as college students. But then it was like Pebbles and Bam Bam. And Bam Bam turned into like kind of a big puss, right? Bam Bam, like he was big and strong and all that stuff, but he was like really like a gentle giant kind of a deal. But Pebbles was hot. Pebbles and Judy Jetson. I think those were the ones that I liked.
No guitar, that is all I need. I don't need no 401.
Oh, I saw this thing online. Maybe you guys have seen it. I saw it on Twitter. It was going around. It's what if your favorite cartoon characters were real people? So like they take a cartoon character, right? Like Homer Simpson, and then they put it in a computer and they apply all these human things, and you get a human being who looks like Homer Simpson. It is awesome. It's very cool. Who did they do that with? They did that with somebody and they were smoking hot. I was like, oh my God, that is a very attractive person. I'm trying to think of the cartoon character they did it with. Anyway, I don't know. Not that important. This is the part of the show where we just fill time as the theme song plays. Tip the show if you want. We'd appreciate that. Help out the show with, whatever. A couple of shekels here and there. Treat me like I'm your bartender. Treat me like I'm your car parker, your valet, whatever it is, your barista. Throw a little something in the tip jar. If you enjoy the show, for the next month or so, it is going to be completely pushed through by your donation. So if you can help out the show, we'd appreciate that, and we'll keep doing them. If you can't help out the show, that's fine. It's not a big thing. Still appreciate you checking out the show and hanging out with us every day. So you can Cash App, Venmo, whatever. Throw a little something, tips. It's just what we got to do. It's just what we got to do on this show now for the next couple of weeks at least. All right, bye, everybody. We will see you tonight at 9 o'clock for Pugs and Parker. Bye.